In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with Tre Tailor. Coping. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping. I'm Tre Tailor, and we are streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Find out about a diabetes prevention program in South Carolina that you can participate in. We're also streaming live on the In It Together YouTube channel. We're also streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and find out when we go live Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday. And then, of course, on Thursday and Friday. We're streaming live on the YouTube channel. Also, please hit the subscribe button. And we also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Today, we are coping with Happy Holidays and Less Pounds. We are kicking off our series on Happy Holidays and Less. We're actually Friday going to kick off our Happy Holidays, Less Stress. But like I said, today we're talking about less pounds. We're talking to James Johnson. He is with MUSC Wellness. The biomedical engineer started a career in cardiovascular research and biophysical measurements and has been in the healthcare and wellness field for 40 plus years. Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. I mean, 'tis the season for holiday parties. Is there something that we should do before we get to a party to get our body ready so that we are not gaining so much weight during the holiday season?
Yes, absolutely. That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. And I talked to many people about this. So going into the holiday party season, my recommendation is that you do two things: that you be well hydrated and you have a meal 2 to 3 hours before you go to the party so that you've satiated your appetite. And now you are just eating because you're curious about, different foods and different flavors, those types of things. If you indulge in alcohol because you're well hydrated, it's going to lessen the effect of alcohol on you, and you'll have that feeling of already being full. And just remember, you're at the party to socialize and to have a great time, and that's a relationship with people and not food and alcohol.
But you know what, Mr. Johnson, here's the thing about that. This is so interesting you said that, because it's free food and usually free alcohol. So people... Look, I can see those people anytime. I can't have it. You know what? I think that's what a lot of people think. This is my meal for the day, especially when you're single.
Absolutely. No, I 100% agree with you. But, also, just remember that you want to present yourself well in any setting.
Yeah.
And so a great part of that is being in control, having a great time, exhibiting that you can have a great time and still being in control, being very social, and just enjoying yourself without doing any aspect.
Overindulging. Yeah. So you said 2 great tips. We should be well hydrated. Now that means drink water, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Because people look at hydration differently.
Yeah. Understandable. And so the hydration with water means that if you're dehydrated, you're going to accelerate the effect of the alcohol on your body. And, it just increases the rate at which you're absorbing it.
Right.
And as you know, especially if you don't drink on a regular basis or drink a certain quantity on a regular basis, it's already going to have an effect on you.
Right. And then you say, have a meal before you go. Now, is there something that we should eat or folks should eat specifically that can either help fill them up or help absorb whatever type of alcohol they may be partaking in?
Well, protein takes longer to break down and digest. So protein is more or a larger quantity of what it is that you want to have preceding that party. Now, remember that a meal is going to be not a big plate full of stuff, because you want to enjoy, the desserts and the many, offerings at that party. So you want something approximately about the size of your fists. That's going to satiate your appetite. And especially if you eat it slower, then that intake matches, the desire for food.
Right.
And like I said, have a large portion of protein probably the largest portion of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins that'll stay in your system a little bit longer. And you won't be hungry a couple of hours later when you're at that party.
What about movement? Is there something, should we walk or exercise before the party? Before we get ready to eat?
Hopefully everyone has a exercise regimen. And, that exercise regimen for most people is either in the morning when you get up, at lunchtime, or in the evening after things are done. So stick to your regimen during the holiday as much as possible.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What were we going to say?
And so stick to that regimen. If you know you're going to a party or a festive event, I like to get that in a little bit earlier so that, remember I said to hydrate. So you're going to sweat, perspire during the course of whatever exercise. If it's walk, go to the gym, play recreational sports, get that in so that you have a couple of hours so that you can rehydrate before you go to, your holiday events.
James Johnson joins us. He's with MUSC Wellness. You're watching Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SD and the Diabetes Action Council. We're talking about happy holidays and less pounds. Now, how much movement should we do if anticipating that we may gain some weight this holiday season? And I think most people do, don't you, Mr. Johnson?
Absolutely. It's such a social period of time, and most social events honestly revolve around eating and drinking.
Yeah.
And so that has the potential to add on the pounds.
All right. So how much movement do we need, whether we have our already set regimen or we do not? How much movement should we do to help keep the weight off, or at least keep it down?
Here's a simple formula I like to use. So you don't have to count calories and it doesn't get really technical. If you already have a training regimen or an exercise, regimen, you know what that is. Say that day you're probably going to eat 30% more food just by looking at the quantity of food. Try to exercise another 30%. So you want to balance out those calories burnt versus calories taking in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really simple way that most people can go, oh yeah, I probably ate an extra meal today. All of these samplings, that I'm in, that's for most people, they eat 3 meals. So that's now 4, that's 25%. So you work out 30 minutes a day on average, add an extra, 10 to 15 minutes of exercise, whether it's walking, running, playing your recreational sports. And now you have moved in the direction of using the majority of those calories.
Right. You mentioned some different things. Does it matter what we do? Running, walking, playing hopscotch, does it matter what type of movement?
Actually, it does. And the reason is it needs to be enjoyable or you aren't going to do it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, don't think in terms of weight training versus aerobic. It needs to be whatever you do. The holidays are stressful enough.
Yeah.
Do things you enjoy doing. And sometimes if you really enjoy doing it, you'll probably go past what it is you thought the amount of time that you were spending in it. And that puts you in the plus category.
Right. Right. Now, is there an optimal time of day we should exercise? Is daytime better than nighttime? Also, as far as when, duration, and how often?
Okay. Again, that's individual. I wish there was a simple answer for everyone, but honestly, it's not. There aren't very many morning people. So trying to get up early to work out, most people, it's not going to work for you, right? So it has to be when you feel you can actually accomplish the tasks.
Right.
Otherwise, you're more likely to miss it. I had a coach in high school when I was a track and field athlete who told me to always train hungry. And I didn't really understand it that much, but as I got older, I did. Meaning 2 things. One is that when you have fasted the longest, most people, the longest you go without eating or drinking is overnight. And so when you get up in the morning, you're breaking that fast. Your body now has its lowest level of blood glycogen. So you're more likely, if you exercise in the morning, to burn fat now, or a higher percentage of fat. But if morning isn't, necessarily the best time for you, then, have a smaller meal when you do get up. Let that meal digest. Let your blood sugar levels drop down again so you're nearer or closer to that fasting blood sugar level, then exercise. Now, that is if you want to burn fat. Some people just want to maintain weight. If you want to maintain weight, again, it's calories in versus calories out. And just make sure you get those calories out.
Right.
So, the time is not nearly as important for you if you're in weight maintenance mode.
Right. That's so interesting because I guess I always thought, and I work out in the morning. As soon as I drop off the kids, I go to the gym and I spend about 45 minutes in the gym lifting weights, doing some cardio. And I always thought that I needed to eat so I'd have something to burn because I'm trying to get rid of fat. But you're saying it's best to have little or no food.
If you can tolerate it.
If you can tolerate it.
So the math, with all its complex variables, say that you will burn a higher percentage of body fat if you work out in the morning with no or very limited intake. But that's not doable for most folks. And especially if your training includes weight training. You will, until you get used to it, you will feel a little weaker than normal working out in the morning, and especially if you haven't eaten a little something. And so you've got to figure out what allows you to get the most out of that time that you've invested in your workout.
Right. Okay. And then the duration, I usually do about 45 minutes. What should most people do? Again, particularly during this holiday season, if, like you said, they're trying to at least maintain or not gain.
So just a general, recommendation I make. If your mode of exercise is more cardio based, so if you're more of a jogger, walker, treadmill, stepper, that type of thing, in general, it takes you about 20 minutes to get into that aerobic metabolism. The aerobic metabolism has to do with what percentage of fuel you're burning while you're working out. So you have proteins, you have fats, and you have carbohydrates. In that aerobic zone, you're starting to optimize the amount of fat that you're burning. So you have a very complex, source of your fuel. Now, if you're weight training, because most weight training you're doing in short intervals and you rest and you do it again, that's in its high intensity. That's mostly glycogen as your preferred fuel source. And if you're weight training in that, you will need some calories in your system or you're going to feel very tuckered out very quickly. Right. What I recommend is if you weight train, you try and cut your rest intervals gradually, as opposed to, listen to your body. Your body will tell you when you're tired, when you're run down. And, that's usually fairly consistent in the length of time. And so if you're there and you're naturally working out 30, 45 minutes, hold on to that, cut your rest intervals and try and get a little bit more work in that time. That's going to be more productive than trying to add another 15 minutes in which you're already fatigued.
Right. We've got a question, Mr. Johnson. Barbara, thank you so much for your question. Barbara Belton says, what happens when a person eats a late meal, about 8 to 10 p.m., then not eat again till 6 p.m. the next day? Is that considered fasting?
Yes. Barbara, thank you for your question. So if this is done on a regular basis, this is what we call intermittent fasting. So in intermittent fasting, you go for a period of, you'll have a meal. I'm assuming that this person probably doesn't go to sleep at 11, since that's a really late meal.
Right.
But there is a certain length of time that you'll go before you eat that next meal again. So that is considered intermittent fasting, and it's a daily practice, not just a once in a while practice. If you're doing it just during the holidays, you're going to feel pretty bad because your body isn't used to it. So you're going to need to practice that for a while to get the benefit of it.
Right. And what is the benefit of fasting like that? Thank you, Barbara.
So in intermittent fasting, your body does tend to burn a bit more body fat as compared to your proteins and your carbohydrates. So it's another method of, controlling your weight or losing weight. But in particular, if you're trying to optimize your body composition and lower your body fat percentage.
All right. So she says, exactly. She sleeps by 12, no breakfast or lunch, but she said no results in weight loss.
Okay. So unfortunately, Barbara, it is a rather complex equation. So in addition to those calories, you're going to have to make sure that you're being well hydrated, right? Your stress levels have a lot to do with your body's weight management.
Wow.
A lot. And it's nearly in some cases as important as your food intake.
Wow.
So if you're stressed out, a high percentage of the day, you have high levels of cortisol, these hormones that wreak havoc on your body, and your body's just trying to maintain. It's trying to hold on to everything it has just to have some source of normality. So work on managing your stress, hydrate well.
With water.
With water. Even though you're intermittent fasting, what you eat still matters. And that's what I see a lot, from the people that I work with who intermittent fast and don't get the results that they necessarily are looking for. What you eat still is going to matter. Even though you've gone 12 hours without eating, what you do take in, you're going to have to watch.
Right. If you eat a bacon cheeseburger and a piece of cake, and some iced tea for hydration, right?
Yeah, you've wreaked havoc on your intermittent.
And I'm not saying, Barbara, you do that. I'm just saying, like James said, we've got to be conscientious about what we eat still.
Yes. Fruits, vegetables, lean sources of protein. Stay hydrated, manage your stress well, and try and be active.
Yeah, Barbara says, thanks for your response. When you said the thing about stress, she said, wow, that's her answer. Thank you. I mean, you make such a great point. And you know what I tell you, James, Friday, we're going to kick off a series, Happy Holidays, Less People Stress. And, we're going to bring through the month of December, bring on therapists and have people ask questions and have people come on that are talking about the people issues that they have. And oftentimes during the holidays, we are faced with people. So we have to deal with people. And that stress thing is really interesting because I don't think people, I know I didn't until you said it, and Barbara either, correlated stress with weight loss or weight gain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are all a product of our environment around us.
Yeah.
And how we interface with that environment. Now, the environment can wreak havoc on your body, or you can do your best to work within the parameters of that environment so that you can thrive.
Yeah.
And the same, is true in the workplace and relationships with family. During the holidays, I got a couple of family members I don't necessarily look forward to seeing, but I have a strategy for dealing with them.
Listen, you got to come back. I'm going to have Josephine, who books the show, have you come back for that series, because that's what we're trying to give people, strategies on how to deal with the people that you got to see. So you got to learn how to deal with them so that you're not affected, because they going on about their business. They ain't thinking none of their fine.
They're all about them. Yes.
And you sitting up there, gouging on, potato chips and chocolate chip cookies because and I don't know, a margarita because you're trying all the wrong ways to deal with the stress.
Exactly. And that goes back to Barbara's question, because a large percentage of people stress eat.
Yeah.
You get stressed out. Oh my God. Your comfort is now food. You go to something that you find some sort of enjoyment in.
Yeah. James Johnson is with MUSC Wellness. He's worked with as an exercise safety and training protocol consultant for some of the top fitness brands and exercise video producers, and came to the MUSC Wellness Center back in 1999. He now works as the director of group exercise and the science-based Next Wave Studio. Before you leave, tell us a little bit about what you're doing over at MUSC. What's the Next Wave Studio?
So our Next Wave Studio, there is, a tremendous influx of technology into all aspects of our life, including our wellness and our health. And what we do is, as mentioned before, I specialize in biophysical measurements. So we take and measure how your body should react and perform to certain stressors, including exercise, so that your joints move through a good range of motion, so that you move with less pain and discomfort. Your heart rate should be within a certain zone, even during your exercise, so that at the cessation of that exercise, it should gradually move down into that state that's less stressful for your body at rest. So you sleep better, you manage your stress better, you're just healthier in general. Core body temperature is the same. Your core body temperature goes up, your body is usually fighting something. How well your body recovers from exercise and stress in general, you can measure that by your rate of recovery. So we have factors in which we can say, and most people, they're a little more fatigued on Thursday and Friday than they are on, Monday and Tuesday, unless they kind of go wild on the weekend. So we have parameters there that allow you to be more functional throughout the entire week without compromising your productivity and your wellness and health on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Wow. All right. Mr. James Johnson is with MUSC. Actually, our next guest, Mr. Johnson, Dr. Sylvia Bollie, says you're speaking her language. She says she has an entire chapter on her book on stress and weight gain. She wants to connect. I will make sure that we connect the two of you. And thank you again so much for joining us today on Wellness Wednesday on Coping with Tre Tailor. You've given us some great information to help folks have a happy holiday. Definitely would love for you to come on one of the shows this month talking about happy holidays, less people stress. So Max, Josephine will be reaching out to you soon. Okay.
All right. I would enjoy that very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Coming up, more happy holidays, less stress with pounds, less pounds. Dr. Sylvia Bollie joins us from EmbraceYOU Weight and Wellness. That's coming up next on Wellness Wednesday. I'm Tre Tailor.
Hi, I'm Master Deputy Addie Perez with the Richland County Sheriff's Department Community Action Team. As a mother, I know it's important to take care of my health for those I care about. Part of doing that is knowing my risk for developing type 2 diabetes. So if I was you, I'll take the opportunity to visit inittogethersc.org and take an online test to find out if you have prediabetes. Again, the website is inittogethersc.org. This message is brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Thank you again so much for joining us on our Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. We're streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page and on their YouTube channel. Please go over there, hit like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find such great information about how to find a diabetes prevention program, both in person and virtual. Plus, on that Facebook page, they've got all types of great resources for you to get your life back. What better time than leading up to the new year to get back on track? We're also streaming live on the home of Coping with Tre Tailor, the In It Together, the tailor-made production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and find out when we go live every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday for Coping with Tre Tailor. The YouTube channel is also available. It's got 3 years worth of interviews, information, and resources available to help you thrive and survive with whatever you are coping with. Please hit the subscribe button. We also have a presence over on IG and also on Twitter. Today, we are starting our series on Happy Holidays and Less Pounds, helping you make it through this holiday season without gaining extra weight. Dr. Sylvia Bollie is a medical doctor. She's a double board certified body positive weight and wellness physician expert, best-selling author and creator and CEO of EmbraceYOU Weight and Wellness. She has a personal connection to weight loss, having lost 60 pounds of baby weight twice and maintaining her weight loss for over 7 years through her personalized, holistic, scientific weight loss strategy. Thank you, beautiful, so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Tre. Always great to be back here. I feel like I'm with family.
Yes, absolutely, girl. So good to see you. Happy holidays.
Yes.
So
How have you
listen,
been?
I'm good. I'm good. Listen, I probably ate too much Thanksgiving, but you know what? Here's the interesting thing is because I'm a vegetarian. So, and I was telling my trainer today, my thing is sweets. So, of course, I ate good. I mean, somebody made a shout out to my friend Carrie Abel, who made a delicious vegan mac and cheese. And then we had meat, carrots, cabbage, lima beans, collard greens, you know, all of that. But I also had a piece of sweet potato pie and a piece of rum cake and some ice cream.
It's not confessional, Tre. It's okay. It's
I know, right? And I'm like, Jesus, am I just undoing everything? But this is not about me. But listen, is it doable, Sylvia, to go through the holidays and not gain weight?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I will say, and first of all, I loved everything James Johnson had to say. Yeah, I was back in the backstage like, yes, I agree. So, so much of what he said is just in line with my philosophy. But I want to, first of all, just reassure you and the audience, this is the hardest time of year to lose weight. It is the hardest time. And I say that as someone who has personally gone on my own journey for 8 years and also been an obesity expert for the past 7 years, where I have led people in various types of programs on different journeys. And honestly, I say the goal of this season is to maintain. And if you lose a little bit, then that's okay, but not stress yourself out because you're just out of your routine. You're out of your routine in so many ways, but it is possible to maintain. And it takes what I call the 5 M's to get through and maintain.
Okay. And what are the 5 M's? We need
tell you
now. Give it to us, girl.
Give it to you. So number one, you know, everyone starts with what they should eat, but it's really about why are you eating? Okay. So the why is so important. So the first M is your mindset. And I think you mentioned something really key. So the first M is mindset, then it's mindfulness. So being present as you're eating, then movement, making time for yourself, and then having a meal strategy. And so Mr. Johnson, he hit on a few of those things, but let me be first. So one mindset that you mentioned that I see get us a lot of people in trouble this time is that free food mindset. Free food is not free if it is costing you your health, if it is costing you your weight line, if it's costing you your time in January because you got to be at that gym extra hard. So I want y'all to shift that mindset of, oh, the food is free. Now, it may be free in the sense it didn't cost you anything financially at that time, like there was no exchange of money, but think of the money you're spending in terms of your time, in
Yes.
terms of your energy of it. And I think if we can start to see that a little bit differently, then we'll say, is this food really worth it for me? Like, is that
Right.
it, like it tastes good, but is it really worth it?
Right. That's hard. I'm just being real, girl.
No, let's be real, because I only operate in the real. And I think that's the thing. We, a lot of times when we, as healthcare professionals, as doctors, we have these really theoretical conversations, right? But we need to be real, because, we need to think about how it, like, is it really making hitting, and is it impacting? So Barbara says free is always good, or so
Or
we
so we
think.
think.
So
Yeah.
we think. Yeah. And I want you, and I want you to think about that too, Barbara, a little bit more, because you said, or so we think. Like, think about the last time you got a whole bunch of free food. Did you really savor it? Did you really enjoy it
Right.
as much as what something that you invested in? And sometimes that investment is not even money, right? The investment is the fact that I became a runner on my journey. So I know for a fact how much work it takes to burn off certain things, right? Like, so one good example of this is I had just gone for like a 13-mile run. And I know that sounds crazy, but like I had gone for it, but that's only 1,300 calories, y'all. So like when I rolled up to a certain fast food restaurant, which should remain unnamed, they had the calories up there, and their breakfast, the one that I used to get,
Right.
1,400 calories. I was like, man, running 13 miles, I can't even afford this
Right.
meal.
Right.
So I
Right.
think if we start to think about it in terms of that exchange, then it's like, okay, what I eat is got to be worth it. It's
Yeah.
got to be really worth it. So maybe grandma's pie is not worth it, but Aunt Susie's pound cake is worth it. And, you know, we can make those like changes that make those choices.
So let me ask you this. So then should we eat the pound cake one day and the pie the next day? Or maybe, or, I mean, you know what I mean? Can we compromise? Can we keep me and Aunt Susie and Aunt Grandma happy? Everybody happy.
Well, first and foremost, I want to encourage you, because this is a common mistake I see a lot of women and a lot of people make, but I'm going to speak to the women because I know how we think.
Right. Right.
We are people pleasers.
Yes, we
I'm a recovering people pleaser. So we will eat a lot of things that we don't really want because we're trying to keep them happy. So the first and foremost, when we get back to mindset shift, is it's not about making Aunt Susie happy and grandma happy. It's about
Yeah.
making you happy.
Yeah.
And then once you are happy, then you are empowered to say to them, you know, actually, at this stage in my journey, that looks so good, but I'm gonna just take a little taste, or I just don't need that right now.
Well, you made a good point. What about just a little taste? I mean, can we have just a spoonful of
Absolutely.
whatever?
Absolutely. And especially you need to know yourself. Now, again, because I work with people, and I myself, I'm a recovering emotional eater, and I also work with people who have sugar addiction, right? Food addiction. So
Yes.
one taste is like a hit that's going to lead to get to snowball. So
Right.
you have to know yourself.
You're right. Which is another great point, because I try that sometimes, and because I fast, I don't do intermittent fasting, but like around Lent. So I fast from potato chips, which I love. Look, I probably got some Wise barbecue. Or look, here's my Wise barbecue potato chip baker. As you see, it is empty. But anyway, and I love so I fast from sweet and potato chips. And it takes a minute to get it out of my system. But once it's out and Lent is over, it takes a while because the taste is no longer, I don't have that longing. But once, like you said, girl, once that Pandora's box is open, it's hard. So again, like you said, you've got to know yourself. Barbara says, she says her mom finds happiness in cooking and feeding folks. She said she hates it because she feels bad if you don't want to eat. And so, her oh so good, bad Southern home cooking. As you said, Sylvia, we just have to say, and that girl, again, that goes to mine. I know you heard me say to James, our conversation that we're going to start Friday is how you deal with people. because the whole food thing is another thing, because you don't want to offend anybody, but you don't need
Absolutely.
to either.
Absolutely. And Barbara, I mean, that's something, both of my parents are restaurateurs. So I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Food and my parents are also West African. So I get the food culture on both sides, sis.
Right.
So I really, really get that. And especially my journey has transformed so much. So a lot of things I used to eat when I was younger, I don't eat now. And that's one of the things I had to have an honest conversation with my mom. But I love you, Mom. I love you with all my heart. But I'm on this journey where I'm trying to, nourish my body in a different way. I change my relationship with food. And I just invite her in. Can you help me with that? Can you help me? So I may not be able to eat some of the things, or I may choose not to. And I always want to remind you that there's a choice, because I think I hear a lot of this good, bad, can't, shouldn't, and that's just going to make you crave it more. I'm going to be straight up with you. Like if you start saying, I can't eat this, like we love that object of desire. So really, again, that changing the language around it, like you're choosing not to, and then you can then, ask invite your family in on the journey with you, with your mom. And it doesn't have to be all or none. I'm sure you could eat some of the greens, you could eat some of the beans, and you could have a piece of the fried chicken wing. There are things that you could eat and make a way on there too. But also, and I know y'all are going to cover this on people. I'm going to try not to step on your toes.
No, you're good. You're good.
But one of the things I think as women, again, and as people, we have to accept is we do not have to accept other people's projections unto us. You know what I mean? And we cannot make people happy. We can't they are in charge of their own feelings and their own emotions. So my mother finds happiness. Well, that's wonderful. But at a certain point, mom has to also grow and evolve. And I'm not talking about nobody's mama. Not talking about nobody's mama. But you know what I'm saying? Mom has to grow and evolve to a place where her happiness is not found in what everyone else is doing. And are you going to keep tying your happiness to that too? And this is a lesson, a walk that I've had to make too. So I say that with all due respect and all due honor. But when you're trying to make these changes for yourself, if you're still trying to please other people or still trying to be perfect, which is the other thing too, it's going to make it really hard. And that doesn't matter what tips we give you. Drink water before, eat protein. It won't matter unless these root issues are dealt with.
Which is the mindfulness that you talked about. You got to get your mind right.
The mindset. So number one, going into these holidays, I love one of the things James said, and that's something we often forget. Yes, food may be the way that we express our love and express our celebration, but ultimately it's really about sharing time with people and space with the people you love. So that brings me to the second M of mindfulness, which is being present when you eat. So only doing one thing at a time. Because a lot of times what we're doing is, we are talking, we're drinking, we're putting something in our mouth, we're picking up something from the dessert table and all of that. But if you can just focus on talking to that person, maybe you can hold in your hand. I usually have a cute glass during these talks, but I don't have one today. So, you can hold in your hand your water glass, something cute like that, just to keep you mindful of what you're doing and that you're being present. And then when you sit down to eat, say, hey, this is my time to eat, and focus on eating and sitting down to eat instead of walking around and snacking and eating. That's very helpful.
That's good, because you're right. When you're doing multiple things, you're not conscientious of how much you're actually putting in your mouth.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a big way that people tend to overdo it. That can lead to those extra pounds during this time.
Yeah. We're talking about happy holidays, less pounds. Dr. Sylvia joins us from EmbraceYOU Weight and Wellness. With over 10,000 patient encounters, she's helped hundreds of people reach their weight goals through her down-to-earth, holistic, personalized approach to scientific, sustainable weight loss. Do you want to go through the rest of the M's, Sylvia?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so mindset, we talked about it. So free your mind and the rest will follow, like it Vogue says. And so really releasing, I will talk about releasing certain mindsets so they can embrace it. So releasing free food mindset. Girl, it ain't free if it's costing you your health and if it's costing you your time. So and then the other thing is just mindfulness, so being present in the moment, doing one thing at a time. James already hit on the stress management piece. I cannot emphasize that enough. That's chapter 6 of my book, my best-selling book, because having a strategy around stress is so helpful during this time. And a lot of us will eat to suppress those uncomfortable emotions, especially in those family situations. Then movement. So we talked a bit about with James moving. Now he is very lofty, but I know what happens to us this time. I know what happens. And this is even after 8 years of consistent working out on my part. We get so busy, right? There's like 50 million things to do. We have our normal busyness plus buying gifts and everything. So I want you to commit to moving 1 minute, just 1 minute a day. And I know you're like, oh, I can do that. But think about it. How many people haven't exercised just 1 minute a day? So try to get that 1 minute of movement a day. And initially, I don't care what you do. I just want you moving your body so that you can tell your body and send that message that we are in a healthy stage where we are moving our body. So just move your body. So that's the goal. That 1 minute a day.
Dancing, going up and down the stairs, whatever.
Holding a plank is one of my favorite ones. Jumping rope. What the kids have, that dance is central. I have 2 kids. So, doing something with the kids. My little daughter likes splashing in puddles. I will indulge her for a minute. That's twofold, so just doing something to help. And then making time for you. So again, getting at that busyness, right? Because part of it, we're setting all these goals, and Trey talked about keeping it real, but how are you going to actually maintain or focus on your health if you never make time for yourself? Right. So, and the way to very practically do that is put yourself on your schedule. I put myself on my schedule all the time, and keep your appointment with yourself.
Your appointment. Yeah.
Because we will never be late to our boss's appointments or to a meeting with our best friend. But when it comes to us, we keep pushing it off. So keep that time for yourself. And then last but not least is the meal strategy. So James mentioned alcohol. And I'm not much of a drinker. I'm more with you, Trey. I'm a sweet person, but I like to think of my indulgences in 3 ways. So sweet, savory, or spirits.
Okay.
And then when I go into an event, choose which one am I going to indulge in? Is it going to be sweet, savory, or spirits? Okay. And I will say, from a weight loss perspective, the worst one to indulge in, actually not. You thought sweets. Spirits, because spirits is what's going to slow your metabolism for a couple of days while that alcohol breaks out. It basically kind of like hijacks your metabolism.
Really?
For a while. Yeah.
Now, is that for liquor, beer, and wine? Is it all?
Yes, it's all 3 of them. And because to nerd out for a moment, it all goes through the same like biochemical pathway as your carbohydrates and your sweets. So when it's being that energy is being diverted and to alcohol, everything else that you're eating in terms of carbs, for the most part, is being stored as fat till it gets out of your system.
Wow.
So, and if you're on a weight loss journey, one of the things I always remind people is like, the body loves fat. Like, fat is great for the body, and it favors fat. It wants to hold on to it. And so once you send signals to it that, hey, we're in a stage where we're storing fat again, it's going to try to regain all that weight it lost really quickly and cling on to it. So that's why if you're on a weight loss journey, that you want to be mindful about the alcohol you're taking.
Yeah. Barbara said while she loves wine, which may be also the other reason why she's not losing weight. I don't know if you heard what she said.
Yeah, about the intermittent fasting.
Yeah. And she wanted to know, well, why isn't she losing weight? James talked about eliminating stress. She said, wow, that's me. And now she's saying she loves a little glass of wine. That could be it too, Barbara.
That could be. And the other thing, Miss Barbara, poor Barbara. Barbara, first I want to just say I love you and I am grateful you are here and you are sharing so candidly.
I
We
am
are so
too. Thank
appreciative
you,
you on
Barbara.
the show. But the other thing, when I heard that Miss Barbara was going to bed at midnight, I said, Miss Barbara probably not getting enough sleep. That's chapter 7 of my book is embrace sleep. You need to get sleep because sleep is when your body's hormonal cycle and waking cycle is going to reset. So you may not be getting enough sleep during that time. And then she also made another comment here, which I think is important, Trey, and y'all probably talk about on Friday as well, is like losing my dad during the holidays has made it
Yes,
difficult during
yes,
this season, emotional
yes,
eating. And
yes.
I mean, grief is a very heavy emotion. So one of the things I talk about in my practice, because we always think about weight just in terms of the physical, right? But I'm a body, mind, spirit practitioner. I'm a body, mind, spirit physician. And so weight is also emotional and spiritual as well. So I think that remembering that these are the things that weigh on us. And so getting great support for grief during this time, now that you've made that a connection, is really going to help you with release that emotional eating and heal from it. And hearts off to you, my dad. January will be his 3-year death anniversary, and I lost him on his birthday. Thank you. So the holidays are challenging without your loved one, but
And they are.
and as a recovered emotional eater, I mean, I think part of what helped me through that and not eating my way through that because was having great grief support. And that grief support came in being able to reach out to loved ones, being able to reach out to family. But a lot of times when you're the strong one in the family, it's hard to do that. So getting a therapist and getting a counselor, and I did, therapy for almost 3 years during my grief journey. And that was tremendously helpful too.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Grief is a big thing, and you're right. As we're talking about it, I'm thinking one of those shows should be maybe specifically for grief. I know for years, and both of my parents have been gone for a long, long time, 20 years, and I still have issues about the holidays. And for years, I tell you, Sylvia, and everyone who's watching, Barbara, because she's really responded, I didn't even know why I was freaking out. You know what I mean? It took me a while. I knew I was visibly heavy, but I just didn't know why until just one day I was sitting on just 3 boyfriends ago, girl. I was sitting on my and I was like, I just kind of thought about it, and I realized, my mother, well, obviously, it was the holidays, and she was such a big holiday person. She passed in January, so my depression went through January. Her birthday would have been in March. So from November through March, I was just heavy. I was heavy. And so, grief is a big thing. And you know what? The other thing is, I'll say to Barbara, to you too, when she said she ate between 8 and 10 and go to bed at midnight, I thought she's eating too late. But I'm not the expert, girl.
No, you're right. There's a lot. Barbara, call me.
Call her. Yeah. She's saying, she said, do you understand me? Then her dad passed away last Christmas.
I'm so sorry.
Yes,
and
she's
also,
got
Barbara,
going on.
You do. And then if it's only been a year, like it's so early in your journey. It's so early in your journey. And I think that's the other thing when we talk about making time for you is giving yourself the space and the time to heal too. A lot of times we try to rush healing and it takes time. It takes time. And don't do it alone. I mean, I think that was one of the best lessons that I've learned through this grief journey. And in some ways, the gift my dad gave me, right, was to be able to reach out and really embrace the love and support that was always around me, but I couldn't see when I was trying to be it for everybody else.
Wow. Dr. Sylvia is a busy wife, mother of 2 children, and full-time physician, author, and entrepreneur. She understands firsthand, as she said, the need for being strategic in creating a wellness-centered lifestyle, and makes time daily for her faith, family, friends, fitness, and delicious food. She's eating still, and she helps her patients do the same. Sylvia, thank you so much for all of this great information. I know you have a book. Tell us how we can get the book.
Absolutely. So, thank you. I love your little production team. Shout out to them. Okay.
Yes,
So they
yes,
have it right
yes.
here on my website, www.embraceyouweightloss.com /book. And you can get it. And actually, I'm offering signed copies that come with this cute little journal while supplies last. So get it while you can. So go ahead and do that. And then also one other important offer, since we're talking about the holidays, I want to make to your audience is that I have a holiday wellness strategy where I walk you through how you can get through these holidays without overeating, without gaining weight. And that is an ebook, and it's only $20. And then if you get it today, this Saturday, I will be doing a live Q&A answer, and I will be answering your questions and making sure that we get through this holidays right and tight, okay? So that you can get through it. And because I really want us to get to January without feeling overwhelmed and feeling like we guilty or shame like we overdid it. There's no need for that.
Absolutely. So Barbara, if you, I think you should please reach out to Dr. Sylvia, and she's accepting clients, right? You do virtual clients because you're in the Georgia area. Get the book. And Barbara, if you're interested in the ebook, I will be glad to gift it to you. And so inbox me and let me know, and I'd love to gift it to you if you would like it. Sylvia, thank you so much for joining us. You've been such a wealth of information, and just to share with us that it is doable to keep our weight, in check during the holiday seasons, but we've got to be intentional about it.
Absolutely. And it's not just the physical weight, it's all connected. It's the body, mind, spirit. So I really, really encourage y'all, have a happy and blessed holiday season. Enjoy food, but don't let food control you, so that you can live lighter in body, mind, and spirit.
Awesome. Awesome. Again, Dr. Sylvia Bollie, you can see her information on the screen. She's got the book, she's got the ebook, and the live Q&A this weekend. If you need help getting it together for this holiday season, please, please, please give her a call, or hit her up in the office. You see her website and more information on the screen. Barbara says, wow, thank you. She says she really appreciates today's Wellness Wednesday. We appreciate you too, Barbara. This is what we do it for. Thank you, Dr. Sylvia. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you. Same to you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope, please email booking@copingwithtreatailor.com. Do you have a product or service that could help someone cope? Please email copingwithtreatailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping. Our other sponsors include Javis Tax Services, the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson, Palmetto Media Connections, the Comet Bus System, Computers Unique Dutch Square Mall, Agape Counseling and Training Services, and Black Pages Black Expo. Tomorrow, Monique Dwell will join us to talk about raising a special needs child amidst dealing with her own personal and professional issues. This is such a great conversation, and she's joining us today. And then Friday, we're going to start our series that I talked about, Happy Holidays, Less Stress. We're beginning the series on how to deal with people, family members, friends, now grief. If you would like to get some help from a counselor or a therapist, or if you just like to share your story, or if you'd like to air your issue or grievance and would like to be a guest on the show, we would love for you to do that. Again, you can contact Josephine at booking@copingwithtreatailor.com. As usual, we leave you with an inspirational reading. We're doing a Jesus Calling. Today's November 30th. And today, Jesus says, problems are a part of life. They're inescapable and woven into the very fabric of this fallen world. You tend to go into problem-solving mode all too readily, acting as though you have the capacity to fix everything. This is a habitual response, so automatic that it bypasses your conscious thinking. Not only does this habit frustrate you, it also distances you from me. Don't let fixing things be your top priority. You're ever so limited in your capacity to correct all that's wrong with the world. Don't weigh yourself down with responsibilities that are not your own. Instead, Make your relationship with me your primary connection. Talk with me about whatever's on your mind, seeking my perspective on the situation. Rather than trying to fix everything that comes to your attention, ask me, the Lord, to show you what is truly important. Remember that you are en route to heaven, and let your problems fade in the light of eternity. Wow, that's good stuff right there. That's your Jesus Calling for today, Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, November 30th. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for joining us today. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Take care. God bless. Stay well. Please post and share this information, because folks are going through this holiday eating thing and they need to get this great information. Until the next time, take care. And don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. Thank you for watching.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do. 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive